Okay, real talk. You didn't lose yourself all at once. Nobody does. It happened slowly. So slowly that by the time you actually realized something was wrong, you couldn't even remember who you were before this person came into your life. And the most messed up part? You spent most of it apologizing to the exact person who was doing it to you. Let's talk about the very first thing a narcissist does. And honestly, this one is so subtle that most people straight up mistake it for love. They make you feel like the most important person in their entire world. Every text answered instantly, every compliment perfectly timed, every conversation feeling like this person was literally built specifically for you. You felt chosen. You felt seen. You felt like you had finally found your person. But here's what was actually going down underneath all of that. They were studying you. Like, for real. Every insecurity you mentioned, every fear you opened up about, every wound you trusted them with, they were filing it away. Not to protect you, to use against you later. Psychologists actually have a name for this. They call it the idealization phase, and it feels so good that most people don't just fall for it, they full-on sprint toward it, because it's designed to feel like exactly what you've always needed. And then, slowly, quietly, almost invisibly, it stops. And that's when phase 2 kicks in. The compliments get slightly less frequent, the attention gets slightly less consistent, and you, because you're human and you got used to feeling that good, start trying harder to get it back. You dress differently, you change how you talk, you start reading their mood the second you walk into a room, trying to figure out what version of them you're dealing with today. And here's the part that's honestly going to mess with your head. They planned for this too. Psychologists call it intermittent reinforcement, and no cap, it's the exact same psychological mechanism that makes gambling straight up addictive. Random rewards, random warmth followed by cold silence, occasional affection that you have to earn back every single time. Your brain stops feeling love and starts feeling withdrawal. You're not chasing them anymore. You're chasing the version of them that made you feel whole, and that version was never real. But here's where it gets truly personal, and I need you to really sit with this one. Think about the last time something genuinely wrong happened with this person, something that hurt you, something that made you feel small, embarrassed, or straight up crazy. Now think about how that conversation ended. I'd be willing to bet everything you were the one who apologized. Not because you were actually wrong, but because somehow, by the end of that conversation, you genuinely believed you were. They twisted the story so smoothly, so confidently, that your own memory started feeling completely unreliable. This is called gaslighting, and honestly, no cap, it is one of the most messed up things one human being can do to another. Because it doesn't just hurt you in the moment, it makes you question your own reality, your own judgment, your own sanity. And once you stop trusting yourself, you've got nothing left but them. That's exactly where they want you. Okay, now here's the part that nobody really talks about, and this one is going to hit different. The damage a narcissist does, it doesn't show up as bruises. It doesn't show up as obvious trauma that people can see. It shows up quietly, in ways you don't even connect back to them. You apologize constantly, even when you've done absolutely nothing wrong. You feel guilty for having needs, like your needs are somehow too much. You shrink yourself in rooms full of people because somewhere along the way, you learned that taking up space caused problems. You second-guess literally every decision you make. You feel exhausted in a way that sleep never actually fixes. You became hyper-vigilant, always reading the room, always one step ahead of a conflict that hasn't even happened yet, always managing someone else's emotions before your own. And the wildest part? You did all of this to yourself. Not because you're weak, not because you're broken, but because your nervous system was literally trained by someone you trusted to run in survival mode around the clock. And here's the part that honestly blew my mind when I found it. Research actually shows that people who've been close to narcissists, in romantic relationships, in their family, in friendships, show real, measurable changes in how their brain handles stress. Their cortisol levels stay elevated long after the relationship is completely over. Their nervous system stays on high alert, even in environments that are totally safe. The relationship ended, but your body didn't get the memo. This is why you flinch at certain tones of voice, why certain phrases make your stomach drop out of nowhere, why you feel guilty for being happy, why you sometimes low-key miss them, even though being around them was the most exhausting thing you've ever experienced in your life. That's not weakness, that's not stupidity, that's what chronic psychological stress actually does to a human nervous system. You were injured, just not in a way anyone could see. So, real talk, how do you know if this is actually your situation? Here are the signs that are going to hit closest to home. You feel more anxious around them than you ever feel calm. You feel like you're constantly being evaluated. You feel guilty for things that are straight up not your fault. You've started believing that your needs are just too much for people. You've lost friendships and interests that you used to love because this person took up every single ounce of your energy. And this last one right here, you feel relief when they're not around, and then immediately feel guilty for feeling relieved. If that last one hit, your nervous system was already telling you everything you needed to know. You just weren't ready to hear it yet. Here's the truth that ties all of this together. Narcissists don't destroy you dramatically. They don't show up like obvious villains. They show up like the answer to everything you've ever needed. They make you feel more seen and more loved than you've ever felt in your life, and then use exactly that love as the tool to slowly take you apart. By the time you realize what happened, you're standing in the rubble of who you used to be, wondering what you did wrong, wondering why you weren't enough. For real though, you didn't do anything wrong. You trusted someone who had learned exactly how to make trust feel completely safe, right up until the moment they used it against you. That's not on you, that's on them. And real talk, healing from this isn't about just getting over it. It's not about moving on like nothing happened. It's about getting back to yourself, slowly, imperfectly, one boundary at a time, one reclaimed opinion at a time, one moment of actually trusting your own instincts again, even when it feels absolutely terrifying to do so. You were not too sensitive. You were not too needy. You were not too much. You were just too good for someone who had absolutely no idea what to do with good.